Okay, so now that they've moved the Power Tour to August, I think it's the 23rd through the 29th or somewhere around there. My youngest son, he's going to be 14. He wants to go. So now I can't take a two-person car. So the McLaren that I've got up and running at this point is a no-go. Because he's too young to drive another car, and my lovely wife, she doesn't want to drive a car all by herself. So I got to find a car that seats more than two, which probably means a four-seater. With that, I've got some options. And well, the only thing I have that runs with four seats is my 2011 Camaro, which I actually took last year. You could see it on this channel. But I'd really prefer to drive something else. So I've got a bunch of options, and everyone needs some sort of work, some more than others. But with that, let me show you the options, and if people could, pick one, just name it, and I'll start working. Because I think it'd be kind of fun if I just got something out there. There's two that I really think would be ridiculous, but you guys let me know. Okay? With that, here's the choices. Option one is here. It's a little dark, but I hope you'll forgive me. It's a 81 Trans Am. It's set up for a big block, and that's what's going to go in there. I have a 468 now, but the block is no good. So my friend's got a standard bore 454. I'm going to try just buy new pistons, balance everything, throw it together, and I should have a big block ready for it. So this would be a big block with a Freddie Brown Turbo 350 behind it, and I've got pretty much all the parts for it. I mean, it's got the fuel system, the MSD's on the firewall. It's even got a little bump start sitting on the firewall, so you can, play around with starting it up while you're under the hood. And then the hood, of course, is sitting up on top right now. I just left it off, that way you can see inside here, where I do have the headers. They're Hooker competition headers, and the exhaust is laying underneath the car. So it's pretty much all there. This would be somewhat easy. Next is this LS2. This initially was going to go in this car, and then I changed my mind. I change my mind as often as, maybe not as often as I change my underwear, but I change it a lot. So this is a two-seater Corvette. Can't take that. But that LS2, with the T56 that I have sitting on a shelf in there, can go into this here Camaro. Depending on when I release this video versus the other one, this Camaro, the only thing wrong with it really is roof rust. And it, I know why now, but I didn't know initially. I mean, it was all nice and clean when I first got it, but then I found more and more as I dug into it. But this one, I mean, the bodywork aside, I can get this thing done, I think. I have the fenders, I have the radiator support, I have a radiator, I have the LS2, I have the harness I need, I have the T56, and this was originally a 4-speed car, so the T56 will fit in here. I mean, I already have the clutch pedal with a Z-bar, but I might have to get rid of the Z-bar. Anyway, that's no matter. So this is sort of option 2. Okay, option 3. The car that fell off its jack stands, but that's okay. They're still standing, sort of. 85 ASC McLaren. It's got a 306 in it right now. It was recently rebuilt. It's been sitting in this trailer for, I don't know, 10 years. When it went into the trailer, the bottom of the doors were not rusty. They are now. So basically, it'll be a lot like the red McLaren that I had to do the gas tank, and I would imagine I'll have to do the gas tank on this one. And probably the carburetor as well, but this has a Holley standard, I think it's a 650 on this one, a double pumper. But with that, let's see if we can get some light on the subject. I'll use my phone flashlight, and excuse me, but it's what I got at the moment. Okay, you would think that being in an enclosed trailer would be good. Unfortunately, stuff fell and busted these stupid little pop-up things, which let stuff in. Uh-oh, Coronaville. Anyway, The interior of the car is an absolute mess at this point because the sunroof started to leak. That's what sunroofs do. Why I didn't get one of my 2011 Camaro. But this one's also a 5-speed car, and it's currently got Mustang seats in it because I had an 86 Mustang that was mint, and I wanted to save my McLaren seats. I'm kind of glad I did because these look terrible at this point. Alright, so let's get up to the front. So there's the engine. It's been 030. Like I said, it's a... Oh wait, am I wrong? I might have changed this out for something else. Yep. It's a 600 vacuum secondary, I think. It's got an HEI distributor on the front. Sorry, Ford. But the problem was with the original, I don't know, CDI or whatever they call that box on here went bad. So I had this laying around. I threw it on there and got spark again. And it's basically, you know, it's here. Right? It's going to require, again, you know, minor stuff. Second gear grinds a little bit, but it does shift, so it'll go. And this one, again, I don't think it'll be too difficult. The reason it's up in the air is because I had a problem with the rear. And then I took it all apart, pulled the axle out, put it back in, and miraculously the problem went away. So the jury's still out on whether I actually fixed something or not. I'm not really sure. And, you know, it's all here. All the glass works. It's not super rusty. It's got a nice dent from an English professor that backed into the side of it when I was in college. Yes, it was that long ago. I do not have the rear covers for this car. I would like to make some, because the ones they sell are too tinted for my taste. And then the right side of it's pretty well perfect. So everything bad happened to the driver's side. But yeah, this would be a pretty nice car, I think, to drive on the Power Tour. It was local. Hempstead's a town right near me, so it was sold at a Hempstead Lincoln. Now let's go to some crazy choice. So let that be a lesson to you. A enclosed trailer is not a good substitute for a garage. Okay, and an absurd choice. It's my 1976 Honda Civic CVCC. It is in fact a 5-speed. Today it's currently got a little rust around the edges that definitely could be taken care of. It's got these like a sort of a wide body kit on it with some wider wheels, so it's not the standard skinny CVCC wheels. But this was a Chicago car, if I remember correctly, and you know, they have it almost as bad as New York here, so it's got its little rust issues, you know, around the edges, but nothing's terrible. And this is the infamous or famous GT version. Let's see, do we got the? Yeah, there you go, the GT. I think that came off of Celica, but it was funny because the internet was in an uproar about it. Somebody stuck a GT on this thing, called it a Civic GT, which they never obviously made. And well, I figured I'd leave it there for the ha-has. But the interior on the car is actually not terrible, and it will seat more than two. It's got the original, I don't know what they call that stuff, multicolored stuff, the wood steering wheel, you know, real fancy. And yeah, again, it's a stick. I mean, all 58 horsepower or whatever this thing's got is a blast. What happened to this car, you might say? It was 2012. I had recently gotten my 2011 Camaro. This became not interesting. So it sat here. Some years later, I decided to put a Pertronix ignition in it. That's, you know, rather than points, it's an electronic ignition. And it didn't work. They sent me another one, and it didn't work. I did have the right coil, I wrote the right ohms. Actually, I bought the coil with the Pertronix stuff. So I don't know what went with that, but I should be able to figure it out if I keep plugging at it. Or move back to a point system, which is, you know, simple. But so this is another choice. And I got one more that is a car that I was not even planning to put back together, but it is something that's got 4 seats, so let's bring it on.
Okay, and finally, we've got this one. This is my old grudge car. It used to have a fiberglass bumper on the front. That got smashed by my kid with his go-kart. I did fix it. I have to bolt it back on again. But I have to fabricate some of the mounts because those got screwed up. That said, the car is relatively straight and relatively rust-free. What is missing is the engine, because this is the one that had the 468 in it and had the hood blown off during Superstorm Sandy that we had around here, and it filled the engine up with water. Little known to me, but that happened. It does have an interior of sorts. I did stick a back seat in it, and it's got a bunch of crap in it right now. I stuck things in here for just keeping or whatever. But that said, it's got a dash with the important buttons, you know, fuel, line locks, fans. It's got gauges for water, oil, and voltage. It's got keys, and it's got a fuel pressure and a fuel gauge up there. There's no, well, there's a tach, so I guess you can figure out how fast you're going. It's got 456s in the back of this. It's a 8.5-inch Grand National rear, and then it's got a fancy ass back seat. I had to put that in for a race one time, so it's got the seat. It doesn't have any seat belts for the seat, but it's got a seat because that was the rules. And then the passenger seat I have to bolt down because it never had a passenger seat. It was just a driver's one, but I did buy one, so one of these days I will bolt it down. This is another option, I guess. I have to make it an option because it would obviously seat enough people. The doors are still solid. It's a low-mile car. It's kind of sad that I don't know. But it doesn't have any windshield wipers either. That with the 456s, and I can't even put windshield wipers on it because of the hood. If you look at the, let's see, it's kind of a mess here with all this tree crap. But if you look at the fenders, they were extended. They used to end like here, and this used to go around this way, like where you know, we'll have a little well for the windshield wipers and stuff. This one goes right up to the windshield. That way you can't peek under there and see what you got. So if you've got a nitrous-fed big block, you know, people won't necessarily know. So that was kind of why the thing was like this. But the forward snorkel is because it's so damn old. They're not in vogue anymore, but it used to be all the rage. So this would be another option. This would be stealing that big block and the Freddie Brown Turbo 350 because I've got the right drive shaft for that. But it would be screaming. I mean, I'd have to change the rear gears, I guess. 56 is just a little bit animal with a 3-speed on the highway. It's not very good.